Well, good morning and hello, everyone. My name is Debbie. Today is Saturday, January the 31st. I had to think about that. January the 31st of 2026. This is my first YouTube channel ever, guys. I want to give you a little bit of background about myself. I am 50 years old and I have three adult, beautiful children, ages 21, 28, and 33. I was formerly married for 25 years and that came to an end. And then from that, those beautiful children were born and those are my babies. So anyhow, I was born and raised in California, lived there all my life practically until the Lord brought me here to Texas back in 2022. So in the month of this year in June, it'll be going on 4 years already. So yes, time flies. So with that being said, I did have obviously my little journal and prayer requests for, the Lord to hear my heart and my prayer for certain things. And one of those things was that the Lord would provide me my own home. And because I lived in several different places after my divorce and I felt unstable and I always just wanted my own house. Well, I thought my house was going to be in California. Of course, you guys all know California is outrageous, but the Lord did answer my prayer and he brought me to Texas. And he says, Debbie, I may not have answered your prayer in the way that you wanted, but this is my will and my plan for you. And sometimes what happens when our plans and God's plans collide, right? Because you just feel like, well, this is not where I want to be. And you fight against the goats. I mean, you're just constantly like just butting heads. And you know what? God's not going to move and he's not going to change his mind. When he makes a direction and you say you trust him, you got to go with just that, because sometimes it's not going to come in the packages that we thought. It's not going to be in the way that we thought or the form or our will, basically. You know what I mean? So you have to just learn to accept and embrace where God has you, because a lot of times if it doesn't look pretty, we don't want it. If it doesn't match up with my plans of what I dreamed, lilies and flowers and, and all this stuff, that it must not be his will because it didn't come with the vision that I had stored in my mind. Well, it doesn't always happen that way, guys. I mean, and that's what faith is believing in the unseen. Because when you can see the future, that's not faith. But when he gives you a word, and regardless of how it looks, and you continue to proceed by that, then that's what faith is, because you're trusting in God. And I strongly encourage you that if you as a listener have a dream or a vision of something that you've been wanting to do but have been contemplating on that vision, I highly recommend you to step out and take a leap of faith and be obedient. And because if you don't fulfill your vision or your dream that you were given, somebody else is going to take it. Now, I know a lot of people say, hey, what God gives you is yours. It is, but you have to also take that leap of faith and do it. If you don't, you will never know what it could have been. You know what I mean? Like even with me today, I'm speaking to you, but I don't know where this is going to lead me, this channel. Like, I don't know if I'm going to have any listeners or if I'm not, but I'm who I am. I am genuine. I want to keep it raw. I want to keep it vulnerable. This channel is going to be based on scripture. It's going to be based on my singleness, work, friends, whatever. I don't know what the future holds, but I did have a little bit of a resistance this morning because I'm thinking, well, who's going to want to listen to me, But this scripture came up when I was thinking just that. It's in the book of Psalms, chapter 56, verse 3. And it says, whenever I am afraid, I will trust you. In God, I will praise his word. In God, I have put my trust. I want you to hear the key words here. In God, not in Debbie, not in whatever your name is or whatever, in God, okay? If you let go of God's hand in the midst of turmoil, it's not that God is not listening and it's not that God walked away. You let go of his hand, okay? Because he doesn't move. His word is firm and he is founded and he's a God of order. So if we let go of his hand and all hell breaks loose, we have no one to blame but ourselves, because even though we do go through turmoil and things don't change, even while he is holding our hand, that's okay, because he'll calm us and give us peace in the midst of that. So, okay, and it says, I will not fear. What can flesh do to me? Okay, this was for me because I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, people are going to judge, or people are going to do this or that, or, she looks a certain way, or her voice sounds like this or that. I mean, you can't worry about those things. You really can't. I'm just a vessel for the Lord, and may his word come forth. I mean, someone might need to hear it, and I want to be obedient, getting that point across. If someone's struggling, I want to be able to impart that to you. Another verse in that same book of chapter 56 of Psalm, it says in verse 11, in God I have put my trust. I will not be afraid. What can man do to me? There it is again. What can man do to you? Okay. Last verse in in verse 13 of chapter 56. For you have delivered my soul from death. Have you not kept my feet from falling, that I may walk before God in the light of the living? So I want to be a light amongst, the living. We live in a dark world. We're in a place where, there's so much anxiety. There's so much fear. The government wants to bring fear upon us, and so it's like we just need to stand together. As I mentioned before, my former pastor once said, he said, when you have a bunch of coals, when when you grill or something, you have a bunch of coals and they're all lit, they're all ignited, they're all strong, they're together. But when you take one coal and you move it out from the ones that are all piled up, it burns out. And that's with us. If we isolate ourselves and we remove ourselves from our family, our friends, or whatever, we're going to eventually burn out spiritually. So we need to stay connected in reading our word. We need to stay with community, people that are going to bring life and words of encouragement upon us. So like I said, this podcast is going to be for a lot of my single audience, or whoever really wants to listen to a lady like me. So I hope that encouraged you today. That is all I have for today. I do have several content, but I've been writing it down, and little at a time I'll impart that. But yes, this channel is going to be a little bit of everything, and personally just about me. So I hope you stick around, and I hope to see you next time. Take care, guys. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.